The next section of this opening section that I would visit about would be the scale. This happens in measure 3 and 4. In the book, it recommends doing just alternating sticking, and that works just fine here. Another option that you may prefer is to put a double in. A double works really well on the B flat and A flat. So you do it on the way down as well as on the way back up, and it puts the right hand back in on the downbeat when you get to the D flat. The reason why I personally prefer the double instead of the alternating sticking here is because at the bottom here, when you play the alternating sticking, it gets to be kind of tangled up here. Here's what I mean. It's a really small thing, but it's just a personal preference for me. So if you find that you're having accuracy issues or it feels a little bit kind of tangled there, the double works as a way to alleviate that. And that's really the first 4 bars of the piece. The next part is this D flat. It's not quite a sequence here, but we have some bars that really relate to each other. There's sort of an imitation going on. The D flat, and then when the B flat responds. Okay, so we have ya da 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 ba da, and then we have the B flat response. Okay, so we want to make sure that we have a clear relationship to them. Otherwise, if we play this just straight, then it really just starts to sound like straight 16th notes. It looks on the page like it's just 16th notes, but we need to do what we can to make these relationships clear to the audience. That becomes even more apparent in the next phrase, where we have this really clear sequence. This begins at measure 13. There's a sequence here beginning on the B flat. And then it repeats at the A flat. And then one more time on the G. Now that relationship needs to be heard. Again, if we play them equal, it'll sound like this. Since we know about the sequence, we can highlight that and make it clear for the audience. A sequence is kind of a cool thing for the composer to write. So the audience, remember, would only have heard this one time. So we want to make sure we can make things really clear for them on the first listen. Now there's also a crescendo written here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to play each one of these. Here's the first example, starting from B flat, and you'll hear a certain shape within just the B flat statement. Ya da 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 dum. There's shape within just that much. And what we're going to do is copy and paste that same shape to the statement that begins on the A flat. However, since we're doing a crescendo, the A flat will be slightly louder than the B flat statement. Once again, B flat, A flat, and then finally G. Together. And hopefully that will help the audience hear this relationship. One other thing that I do for this section, I put a slight accent, and it's really not an accent, it's what I think of as a bump accent. It's sort of a way to articulate the beginning of each one of these, again, because it is all straight 16th notes. So a slight bump on the first note of each one of those. The B flat, the A flat, the G, and then the roll. And that can also help you figure out the phrasing. You can hear the shape of just those notes. So we put that in with the playing here. Now the C is really part of the next phrase. So why am I playing it since we're only talking about the first 16 bars? Well, early on we mentioned about muscle memory. I think it's a really good idea to always put the first note of the next phrase in when you're doing these reps, because it's going to help cement that muscle memory, because it's really important to know exactly where you're going to go next. So measure 17, the first note is a C. You want to build that muscle memory. It's just as important. Otherwise, you'll get what happens to us sometimes when we do section by section or phrase by phrase. Sometimes we have a hard time putting them together. This will help make that a little bit easier. Okay, we'll talk more about this phrase soon, but this is just the first video to kind of get you started. Again, make the priority learning the notes at a slow tempo, be able to play them consistently, repeatedly, at a slow tempo, accuracy. Accuracy is really the main idea from the beginning. Rhythmic accuracy and pitch accuracy. Make sure you can get those really under control. And by the way, try to pay attention to your dynamics from day one so you don't have to relearn them later, because that's twice as much work. So accuracy of pitch, accuracy of rhythm, get the dynamics in, and always pay attention to your tone quality. This is a good place to start, and we'll talk soon about the next excerpt.